All right, how's it going, everybody? We are here for a build video of uranium processing. I've already started the process by putting all the machines in where I'm hoping they're going to be okay. We've talked about this over like 3 or 4 different streams, and if you want to see how we did the fuel running and the power, you can go watch the stream that's going on currently while I'm recording this. I'll put a link up here if you want to go check out that full stream. There may be cuts that I have to do here and there, so if you want to see what happened during those cuts, you know, it's there. But this is our Uraninite processing, and I went ahead and grabbed the mass storage of Uraninite and brought it over here. We are going to need to hook this up to our main line, this one here, that is running through all of these. So we're going to, apparently I don't have any pipes on me at the moment for that, but we'll run one over that will then dump into here instead of all the way over there. But let's get started here. So our first one here is Uraninite, and it is going in a mixer with hydrogen fluoride. Now we have a tank of hydrogen fluoride outside, and I think we have some ran in here already. We're producing it here, but we don't want to use it out of here. We want something that's actually, yeah, this one here. This pipe here is supplying from inside. So we're going to run a pipe across right here to that there. So let's get some small stainless pipes, which obviously I need to go make some more of, because we're not going to have enough for this. We're going to go like this. We're not going to go over top of this machine. We'll go there. So this is one of those cuts. I'll be right back. Okay, more pipes in hand. We will now hook this up, which we want to come across this way, and we will go into here. So now that should start this process, which it does, and you will see that this process is going to give us out uranium tetrafluoride dust and water. The tetrafluoride is automatically going to go into here because of how we have these two butted up next to one another. And the water is going to be running out the back of here and into this tank here, which I will have to deal with changing the color of these pipes later. But there we go. That will input into there. Now, I believe we could also use this for getting hydrogen. We could set up an electrolyzer, because as you'll see, we will need hydrogen for this system to run later. But as of right now, we're not going to do so. We may do so later. But now this uranium tetrafluoride here in this mixer needs to mix with fluorine. Now, this is where, hello, we actually have an abundance of fluorine. We have a bunch of it in here, or had a bunch of it in here. It's now all actually getting used to make more fluorite, hydrogen fluoride, because this is not going to be able to catch up. But we need to make a tank, basically, for fluorine, because we need to have some of it going into here, which we have a pipe right here. So I think what we might do for now, if we go back to this one, we need 400 liters of it. It is a gas, and it is non-acidic. So I believe we should be able to get away with just putting a drum here that will capture the fluorite before it goes off to become hydrogen fluoride. So if we do this, we should, if there's any in there, although I do believe, if I remember what I just looked at, this is, oh, it is heavier than air. Okay, so it should be coming down. We'll do that just to make sure. Yeah, there we go. We have fluoride, or fluorine, in there. So we'll use this to capture our fluorine and then output from there into the system. Now we'll have a way of getting more fluorine back from the calcium sulfate process later. Well, before that. We'll get to that. So now we need to, that's here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need to go into here. So I may just run that pipe up and over. Might be a decent way to do it, because we're not going to need this. So we could actually run that pipe right up here and then run it right across here. It will be a little close to the top of my head, but we can deal with that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I should need about 12 of them. Give me a second. Let me go grab some green, color these pipes. I'll be right back. Alright, since this is a gas, it can go out any side. So we're just going to have that come out the side right there. We don't have to come out the bottom because it's not a liquid. Gases expand in all directions. And you'll notice that even with those, some of them are different looking. It's because I've decided to go with plastic pipes now instead of rubber. Plastic is way easier to get a hold of, and rubber's kind of a pain in the butt. So we should now, once we hit that and tell it to auto output, we should have our fluorine. So, oop, grab these. I am seriously thinking about putting in a proper tank for this. And I'm really hoping that's not going back up through the top. It is heavier. So it shouldn't go up. It should go out the sides or down. Let's see. That is empty. That is empty. So that most definitely went back up, even though it's heavier. So that is a minor issue with this. We're going to need to put a shutter on that pipe at the top that says input only. That way the fluid will not go back out and up through the top. And I'm pretty sure I don't have a shutter sitting around. Now, we obviously could do this with a big tank and then we wouldn't have that problem because it doesn't come out two different places. We're only having this because we're trying to use a drum. For right now, I'm going to shut that off so it can't go back into here for the moment, and see if that gets us some coming through here, which we probably also, yeah, most of it's going into here. So let's cut that off for the moment. And now that should force it all to come through here, which we'll find out here in a minute if it is doing so. There's a little bit in there, and there is none in here. Why is it not going? Well, it's in the pipe system. It doesn't mean it's in the actual pipe either. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay. So we're going to try this. Once I turn this off so that it wasn't auto outputting anymore, it started filling up again. So I went and made a shutter. We're going to put that here. And we're going to tell the shutter either invert or normal is our choices. Which is open or closed. I thought shutters had the option for import or output. Maybe I've been doing too much with GTI lately. And I'm thinking GT5 stuff. So that's not going to do it if we can't. Yeah, that just simply connects and disconnects. So that's not going to work either. We might have to go with a full tank rather than... We could use a pump. A pump is another option, because we could literally just throw this on here and that'll pump it out instead of using the auto part of it. That'll work. I don't like having to use pumps. I hate making pumps, but it will work. So that's what we're going to do. And then maybe I'll put in a full tank later. Now, we do have to get enough fluorine into here, which I'm really amazed that we've gone through that much fluorine already, making hydrogen fluoride when we were backed up completely. Which I may have to go and get some more fluorine, which I believe we can get fluorine different from something other than fluorite. I'm pretty sure like spodumene or lepidolite also has it. Bastanite has it. So we can get some from there. Not that. Not that. Phosphorite has it. So we could get some from there. Topaz we don't get a lot of. There it is, lepidolite, which will give us alumina, potassium, lithium, fluorine, and oxygen. And then mica as well will give us some. Biotite as well, which the biotite we actually get from I'm trying to think of which way it is. It centrifuging it? You do get it from cryolite, but I'm thinking the black granite. Is it electrolyzing black granite? Dust that would get it? I'm thinking red granite gives you biotite, regular granite gives you biotite, and black granite gives you biotite. And it's only 42 EU a tick to do so, so we could also do that as well. So that is another way we could get some more fluorite if we needed to inject into the system. But we did get a little bit of what we're trying to get out of here, which is uranium hexafluoride. So let's continue with our system here. So this is only going to put out a fluid, which is that uranium hexafluoride. And that uranium hexafluoride, ignore the mixer recipe, go straight to the centrifuge, and for every one, you're going to get enough to run one process here, which is where they split. So we now need to put a stainless steel pipe, and almost everything here needs to be a stainless steel pipe because almost everything is acidic. So now we do that, and that should output that into here if I have my electrolyzer turn the right direction, which I obviously do not. Hold on. And that's definitely in there. And ow, that hurt. It's also hot. Now that is input for items. Let me look here and see. Centrifuge. Our centrifuge does items in from the top, fluids in also from the top. Okay, so that's where I messed up. This comes off of here. This is actually going to be going off of here. So this does not go like that. This goes like this. And now that should put it in here, which it did. And if I have my power hooked up correctly, that should run. 512 is what it needs. And it needs 1400. We have a HV electric motor down here, which should be running and is not. So that means we need to actually open this wire up. And there we go. Now it runs. And there we go. So now that has ran and given us our two fluids. Now, I did make a minor mistake here in that I need to separate these two, so it can't be a small pipe. It needs to be a quad pipe or nanupal pipe. But we need to get the fluid to set a filter anyways. So we're going to have to capture this fluid in a container, which is going to be a stainless steel drum. So I'm going to have to empty this one. I'll be right back, and we'll get the filters set up for this. Okay, so I emptied that drum. I made a new drum. Our pipe is empty. So we're going to pull these now out of here. And we're going to put in these new and improved nanupals. You could use quadruples for this, but nanupals are cheaper. So we're going with that. Now, what we need to do is we need to set a fluid filter on each one of these. And these are mixers, which I should have up here. Fluids go in the top or the left. So this fluid, this is where they split, basically. And we need to do the exact same recipe for both sides. So I'm only going to look at one side or the other, and we're just going to mirror it for the other side. So out of the centrifuge, it's going to come to a mixer, which is going to need to have hydrogen in it. Now, we're putting these fluids in through the top. We could technically put them in through the side as well and save on some pipes. Which the only issue with that is, if we look at the mixer, the fluids can only go in on the left, which would mean that we would have to split off a pipe here to come to here, and then have a pipe come in to here. So that's why we're doing it through the top instead of through the left. Now, what we're going to do for the hydrogen is we're going to do this exactly opposite. So we're going to say that we want our 238 in this one here. So we have a filter set here that's empty. We're going to take our 235 and we're going to set it to that one. And then we're going to set our filter to blacklist. So that will mean that no 235 can go in here, but anything else can. So then we can inject our hydrogen into this system. We will have to have another fluid filter here that is set to hydrogen only. That way we don't have any of the uranium trying to back up into it. So now we need to do the exact same thing with this one for this one. And now if we come up here and make sure everything is open and connected, if that drum was already set to auto output and that is open, we should now get our 238 on this side. And this drum should now be empty. So we can take that off, and we'll just set it over here out of the way. And then we'll do the same thing with the 235. And now this is a brand new one, so it has to be set. And the 235 comes in there. So there we go. That takes care of that part. Now we need to get the hydrogen in here. And we should have hydrogen coming in. I do believe it's that pink one right there. Yep, that is our hydrogen pipe right there. So we're going to bring that pipe over. And we'll actually take this off of here. And we'll just put it in through the top, actually. We'll have it go in right there. And now we need to open this, but you can't open it through the filter. So we'll open it through the side. And do I have any more? No. So give me a second. Be right back. I'm going to go make some pink pipes. Alright, so we got our pink pipe here. But before we connect that, we actually need to get the filter set. Also, I completely messed that up. Somehow. Why do I not have hydrogen in there? There's hydrogen in this pipe. I can see it connected. Where did I forget to connect it? Obviously, right there. So, let's do this part. Get a little bit of hydrogen in here. There we go. So now we'll set this filter to hydrogen. So that means hydrogen can only go in and out. So connecting that means there is nothing in that pipe. And there will be no hydrogen in that pipe. Let's go upstairs and see where I made the mistake with connecting this. Ah, right there. We're missing 2 pipes. Well, that's a problem. Be right back. Alright, so we are running. As you can see, we have uranium-235 and 238 in our inventory, which seems wrong. Maybe it's diluted enough, but it just seems wrong. I can hold this in my hand. But we have gotten enough fluorine in here that it could run. So, now that we did that, we need to get a couple things done. First off, we need to get a pipe here and a pipe here. That is going to be our output. And both of those need to run to these respected smelters to smelt these into their corresponding fluid, which we have 238 on that side. So that means we're going to have 238 going in this one and 235 on this side. So it's going to go into that one. Now, before we do that, we need to get our hydrogen fluoride out of here. So we're going to hook these up like this, and they're going to come together right now over me. Well, not over me, but over this pipe right here. And this needs to run out to our tank. Now, we have this one here that is running out of here, going that way. So we're going to do the same thing here, and we're going to connect up to that existing pipe rather than run it to its own dedicated thing. Now, this is something I talked about in the stream a bit while we were paused, was that we're going to have to, after this, set up a system for telling our 3 different ones that are making hydrogen fluoride which one to turn on first, second, and last. This one should always be able to run, so it is going to be first. I am guessing that the second one is going to be this one, because we're going to be getting fluorite dust in regularly through our uranium process, which you'll see here in a bit. So it's going to need to run to replenish the fluorite from there. And then lastly, if we don't have enough in the system, then we can have this one turned on. So this one is going to stay disconnected for right now until we get that system set up. But now you can see that both of these are empty. So that has taken care of itself. And now we need to work on getting these pipes connected. And this is going to be a little bit of a mess here. So with smelters, do we have a smelter? Yeah, there it is. Items in top auto. As you can tell by the things, but I like to show the text anyways. So we're just going to run that across like that. There should be no reason that we ever need to walk through here, but we still can. It's just a little claustrophobic. Now, for this, we're now going to have a fluid come out of each one of these, which are going to need to run into these 2 mixers. So we have our 238 tetrafluoride dust, which is going into a smelter, which is making our fluid, which then needs to go into the mixer with molten calcium. And this is going to be where we get our fluorite back out, although it's going to be molten, and our molten uranium 238 or 235. Now, what I'm going to do, just because we have tons of it over here, which I'm not 100% sure is going to work, I haven't checked it, but I'm assuming it will work, we can electrolyze it into calcium. Can we smelt it straight into calcium? Unfortunately, no. Damn. I actually wanted to see if that would work, but apparently no. So I was figuring bone meal, it's calcium, just throw it in there. But we do have calcium. It's not an issue. We'll go grab some, which we will have a loop for this eventually. This calcium is just going to be an initial dump into the system for it to start working. We're probably going to have a lot more that's not going to be needed in the system, because this calcium sulfate is going to need to be processed to give us our calcium back. out of this system. It should be a loop. But we're going to put calcium in here. That's going to be the only use of this smelter, is for our molten calcium. So now we need to get this, which says it's a liquid, but amazingly does not say it is acidic. It actually says it has a luminosity of 10. I'm kind of amazed that that doesn't have the acidic tag on it. So we technically don't need to use stainless steel pipes for this. Now, this is where I'm kind of debating how I want to do this, because I think to save myself, we're going to use extenders for this part rather than use quad or non-neutral pipes, because we're only doing one fluid from two different places. So we should be able to do a extender on the top to allow for two different inputs. And I'm thinking what we're going to do here, let me grab, I actually want to use a, how hot is this fluid? This is 1036 degrees Celsius, or 1309 Kelvin. I do believe that's too high for aluminum pipes, but it's not too high for, yes, that's too high for aluminum, but not too high for Invar. So we're going to use Invar pipes for this, because Invar and aluminum pipes will not burn you. And Invar won't melt down until 2395. So I'm figuring we're going to do this, which that should now have, yep, in there with no issue. And as you can see, it does not burn me. And then this one is turned the other way around, which we're not going to have solids come out of there. So let's go ahead and turn this around this way so it's coming out here. We'll put that out there, and then we'll run this one up like this, and we'll run this one up like that. And then for this one, again, we're going to turn this machine around because we want the output here on the side, and we'll have it come out, and it's going to go above these two. So we'll have an extender here. We're going to take this one out, and we're going to run this across like this. So that'll be where our calcium comes in through there and then out through these two, which will be connected here and there. So give me a second and I will go and make the extenders. Be right back. All right, extenders in hand, or, in my inventory. Now they're in hand. So we're going to put, let's actually, just to make sure, because there should already be molten calcium in there. We don't want that going into another pipe. We want this going that way, because we are extending the input of the machine. So then anything that goes in through the faces of it will come out. And there we go. So now what we need to do is we need to have our uranium and our fluorite come out and be cast into molds. And we already have our mold set up here. We have an ingot mold for the fluorite, and we have rod molds for the 2 uraniums. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put a fluid pipe, and let's see, acidic for the fluorite. So we definitely need to use stainless steel pipes here, even though this is going to be painful if it hurts, and we need to make sure that it has enough to dump off everything that's in that pipe. So I think this is going to get messed up if we don't do a nanopole pipe. So we're going to do a nanopole pipe. Well, a quadruple would work as well, but we're going to do nanopole because it's cheaper. And yeah, Lorena's just brought up something in my chat that I completely overlooked. That's not going to work. These are fine because these are not acidic, but that one is not. This needs to be a stainless steel mold. So hold that thought. We'll be right back. All right, so now one stainless steel mold, which we actually have to chisel. There we go. And we now have a stainless steel ingot mold. We could have done rod or long rod. Hell, we could have done nugget for that matter. It really didn't matter. I just chose to do ingots arbitrarily because I don't really know why. It's a full unit. It's normal, I guess. I don't know. But there we go. So now what we want to do is take our nanopole pipes that we want to connect here and here. And before we connect them to the machine, we want to connect them here and there. And I guess technically we should probably do here and there with filters as well. Let me go grab one more filter real quick. Which I won't pause for this one because it won't take but a second to grab. But we're also going to have to get the fluids out to set our filters, which we only really need the molten fluorite. Because we can set the other two to blacklist. So we're going to have get that out of there, put this on the corner, not the edges. There we go. So we're going to have the two going to the stainless steel one as whitelist. We're going to have the two going to the ceramics as blacklist. And then we can set all four of them to the same fluid. So we want this one to go there, And we need our screwdriver, and we want to set those two to blacklist. So now we need to, I'm actually going to do this just because we don't want anything to actually go into them yet. So we're going to open that up. So we now should have our fluids in here. Let's get one of our empty drums, which I actually still have hydrogen in that one I need to get out of. And in the list, fluoride is at the top, so it should be what goes in first, which it is. Alright, so now we want to set this to all four of those. And now we can put that back. We can put, technically we can put this right above it. You can see it actually pours it right out of the drum. We can go ahead and open this one, so it will allow stuff in. And now we can put down these two, and once we get that closed, that open, and that open, now once there is enough in here, which we should get more of the uranium than we do the 235, there is our first uranium rod. The 235 obviously doesn't have enough to pour. We only have 72 in there. So as this runs more, we'll get more. And then our fluorite ingots will pour right down through that center there. And it will need to go into a shredder. And this is where I'm kind of stuck at the moment on how I want to do this, because I really don't want to send this pipe all the way back over to this shredder, because that's a long pipe to run. I want a dedicated shredder, but we're working on the automated shredder, or the multi-block shredder. And you can see this thing was just running, so those 5 came through and did their thing, making more of our hydrogen fluoride, which is going back in our system and back into that first thing. So that's how our fluoride gets processed. I do have this one over here that's working for our farms, which isn't running very often. I could run it over there and redo that system, but I'm not 100% sure which way I'm going to do it. But for the uranium processing, this is the end of the line. Now, we do have an auxiliary setup that we need to make over here, which is going to be necessary, and that is for our Wolstenite process, which is with calcium sulfate. So once the fluorite comes through here, it needs to be mixed to make Wolstenite, which then gets electrolyzed into calcium and silicon dioxide with some oxygen. So that's how we're going to get the calcium that's going to go back in our system here at the beginning. Now, I have a lot of calcium that I can run at the moment for this, that I don't need that system, but I also have all of that calcium sulfate that we've been storing up this whole time that needs to get processed. So this will be our next step. We'll be processing this and making our calcium loop. But I am going to figure out how we're setting up a shredder over here before we do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this build video. If you want to see me and XAR walking through it after it's all been set up, you can go look at his original build, which is what this build is built off of. I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a walkthrough of setting it up, and mine's set up a little bit different, but it's still the same basic setup. I will link that up here in the corner as well, along with when I get the Uraninite process set up. I will put a link to that as well up here, so you guys can go directly to it. Now, I will leave you guys off here. Thank you for the folks in the stream that have been patiently sitting here listening to me rant and rave in between video cuts of things that I forgot. And also Lorena's for reminding me to use stainless steel mold there, because I would have messed that up and lost my mold. And a little bit of fluorite, which wouldn't have been the end of the day. It's just fluorite. There's tons of it. Anyways, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for all the support, either to Patreon or YouTube members, and for still sticking with this series, almost 150 episodes into the series. And I will see you guys next time.